delivery doesn't usually fail in the car. It fails in the planning. Now, most cakers think that delivery stress is about the drive itself, the traffic, the braking, the speed bump. But what actually creates anxiety is everything that hasn't been decided before the cake leaves the kitchen. And once you understand that, delivery starts to feel far more manageable. Hello and welcome back today. I'm Yvette from Enchanted Cakes by Yvette, and today we're in our coffee and cake series, and we're talking about deliveries and how to make them as stress-free as possible. Now, I've run my cake business for 10 years, and now I get to teach cake makers how to build beautiful professional cakes that hold up in real kitchens on real delivery days, from foundations and structure through to decorative techniques. Delivery is just one part of the picture, but it's often where everything else feels like it gets tested. So if you like calm, practical cake advice that covers both how your cakes look and how they hold up, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's exactly what I share here. So to keep this simple today, we're going to walk you through 4 reasons that cake delivery feels so stressful, even when the cake itself is well made. So I'll go through each one and then we'll recap them at the end so you can see how they connect. And then I'll share a real delivery story in a moment that explains why planning matters more than most people realize. So, number 1, firstly, pressure changes how everything feels. The first shift happens the moment a cake is finished and somebody else is waiting for it. The cake itself, it may not be a harder design, but the pressure is. Your thoughts start to change. You might be thinking, what if something goes wrong with this cake design? You might be thinking, what if I've missed something? What if I haven't designed it properly? What if I've missed something in the decorating? You're second guessing, did I do the right flavor? What if it doesn't arrive perfectly is another common question that might be going through your mind. And that mental load really affects how you move and how you make decisions. And it can make you rush or second guess things that you would normally feel quite fine about. Now, it's not a confidence issue, it's more of a pressure issue, and pressure really does need structure to help relieve that pressure. Now, number 2, most delivery problems start long before putting the cake anywhere near the car. When something goes wrong during delivery, most cake makers might assume that it happened in transit. But in reality, delivery problems usually begin much earlier, during the setup. Okay, so you need to be making decisions way back during setup. Things like, where is the cake going to be finished? How is it being prepared to move? How far do I have to move it? You might also be thinking about what assumptions are being made about the venue. Are you familiar with the venue at all? Is it somewhere that you've actually been before? So this is exactly why deciding where to finish the cake matters so much as well. Now, if that decision ever does feel unclear for you, I have created a free setup checklist that helps you make that call calmly before delivery day. So you can just comment setup below or just grab it in the link in the description. I'll make sure we pop it below there for you. So number 3 on our delivery checklist here is it adds a higher decision fatigue. There's lots of little decisions that need to be made around delivery. Now, by delivery day, you're already carrying the pressure of time. Okay, you've had the pressure of getting the cake ready on time, the responsibility of taking that cake on, and also, very foremost would be your client expectations as well. You definitely want to be living up to those expectations. And then throw delivery into that as well, and that adds another layer of decisions into your mindset. So you might also be thinking, do I stack now or later? Is the box tall enough for this delivery? You might also be considering, how far does the cake have to actually be carried when I get to the venue? Is it very close to the car where you'll be parking? All these things, none of these decisions are hard to make on their own, but they can be stressful when you're making them late, okay, when you haven't thought about them earlier. So this is why delivery can actually feel quite exhausting, even when nothing actually goes wrong, so you want to try and reduce that stress if you can. So number 4 is that structure matters more than experience. A lot of cake makers assume that delivery can get easier with time, that it's just naturally going to get easier with time, and sometimes it does. But often when you think about it, it just becomes familiar stress. So what actually reduces the anxiety is having a repeatable process. So it's making the decisions early on in the process. They might be made months before you deliver. Making sure there's fewer unknowns, so you don't have to be, constantly running through your mind so many questions that you haven't got answers to. Realistic planning, okay? So knowing in advance everything that's related to this cake and how you're going to deliver it. Now, the structure doesn't make you rigid in this. Having a structure for this process makes you calm, makes delivery calm. And calm delivery is really what you need most. Now, I did learn this the hard way. I've learnt this lesson before. Early in my days, I once delivered a beautiful 4-tier wedding cake. It was a 6, 8, 10 and 12 inch round tiers, covered in ganache, covered in beautiful white fondant, and it weighed around 25 kilos. The cake itself was built very solid. There was no issue with that. But when I arrived at the venue, I couldn't park anywhere near where the cake table was going to be. There were way more stairs involved than I thought. There was no trolley access for me to actually put the cake on a trolley and move it. I had to carry the cake alone. Now, for context, I had gotten up early that day. My general Saturday morning routine involves a nice hard gym class in the morning. I did have a lot of extra cakes that weekend, so I was finishing them when I got home rather than having breakfast. So when I was carrying this cake, my legs started to feel like jelly, and I had to keep stopping, resting, putting the cake down, and keep going again. So the cake arrived perfectly, everything worked out fine. But that delivery did teach me a few important lessons. Number 1, fuel your body. Self-care matters as much as the cake does. Number 2, always check your venue access as well. And number 3, never decide where you're going to be finishing the cake without considering everything involved in your day. So that moment changed how I plan deliveries completely. I'm very organized. Yes, I learnt from a few things. So yes, one thing I am is very organized. So if delivery feels stressful for you, it's usually because the pressure of delivery changes how you think. 2, problems can start earlier than what you realize. Okay. Number 3, you might be making too many decisions too late. Okay, you're leaving them all too late, whereas they could have been resolved much earlier. And the structure of delivery matters more than just experience. Okay, you don't want that experience just to turn into routine stress. Okay, so delivery stress isn't a personal flaw, it's just really a planning gap. So to combat this, I've actually put together my free checklist that I said before. So if you're unsure about how to decide where you want to finish your cake, just comment setup, and I'll put the link below in the description and you can check that out. And if you want to learn more about my complete process for delivering cakes safely, calmly and stress-free, then you'll want to actually have a look at our cake delivery survival kit. So I will pop the link below, and I'll also get you to comment survival if that's what you would like as well. All right. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you have hit subscribe, and maybe share this with one of your cake friends too, so that the delivery can be a little bit less stressful for them as well. All right. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.